Hello everyone and welcome to Barefoot Minis. The next thing I wanted to discuss today was horse ownership on a budget. Well, the first thing you do when you want to own horses on a budget is you go and you buy a stuffed horse and you snuggle it in your bed. Is that not enough? And you go buy a stick horse. You ride your stick horse around. Very, very inexpensive. If that's not enough, then you go and take riding lessons, because it's a lot cheaper, because they have to, even though it's expensive, it's still a lot cheaper. They have to provide the feed and the care and the vetting and everything and the hay for the horse. So that's the next horse ownership on a budget option. If that is not enough for you, horse ownership on a budget, I can give you a few pointers, but they're still not going to be cheap. They're not cheap, just like having kids isn't cheap. Just like doing anything you love usually isn't cheap or free. There's usually some underlying hidden costs. So let me give you a few pointers though how to help. Sometimes you can buy local oats to stretch your feed. Another thing you can do is you can buy salt blocks, big 50-pound ones. They're actually cheaper to buy the big salt blocks. And then you take an axe and you cut them in half so that you can, or thirds or fourths or whatever you need. So each individual stall or group of horses will have a piece of the salt block. The other thing is actually prevention. That's the most important tip I can give you on horses on a budget. Prevention is a big, big key. So if you get good farriery, if you can do farriery yourself, that'll save tons of money. Trimming your own horse's hooves saves tons of money. But that takes a long time, and it takes a lot of experience and practice to get good at. The other thing you can do in prevention is deworm your horses every season. Every time, every winter, spring, summer, and fall. You don't even have to write it on your calendar. Oh, it's spring, time to deworm the horses. And you can look for local lists on what parasites are prevalent in your area, and you can deworm against those. You can also, so deworming is really good. Dentals cost money, but they are an excellent prevention. They prevent vet bills, because if a horse can't chew properly, they can get choke. Or if they can't chew properly, they will have to eat a lot more feed to actually gain weight. They're constantly in pain, so they can't chew. The dentals are expensive, but they are prevention that will save you money. Also, buying good food, another big upfront cost. But if you buy garbage food, you're going to have to feed a lot more, and it's not going to go into the health or go into the fitness or health of the horse if you buy cheap feed. So it's worth it spending a little bit more on good feed, and it will save you money in the end, buying that best feed in your price range. Another thing I would say is stay in the mid-protein range. Don't buy high-protein anything. High protein is going to tax your horse's kidneys. It's going to eventually cause them a lot of grief down the road. Stay within that, 14% protein range. I've seen a lot of these feeds having like 30% protein. Come on, horses, most of us weren't designed to have that type of protein unless we're laying an egg every day. So keep it at the mid-protein. When you feed a good feed and they have a good footing and you are a good farrier, you can cut down on trims. These guys have the dry lot, so they wear their hooves down. So I don't have to trim as much. So I wouldn't have to get the farrier out as much. But most people don't take these prevention measures, and they have to get their farrier out we'll do it, I think, every 8 weeks. Probably sometimes less for foals, because I trim my own horses. I've had to trim foals every few weeks. It just depends on their growth, the speed of their growth. So they can be born quite small and then just grow and grow and grow and outgrow their hooves. If you're up north, you're going to have to spend a lot more in hay. you make up the difference. So down south, in some southwest where you can't get the hay, and even though you need less hay, you have to ship it in, so it all adds up. In the end, it's all very expensive. But if you feed a good quality grain, and then you don't have to feed as much hay, but you still have to feed hay, so that's a consideration. And hay is not cheap. It used to be, when I was a kid, it was probably 50 cents a bale, and now it's around here it's about $3 or $3.50 a bale. And my horses probably need 300 bales a year. Sometimes less. It just depends on the hay and how bad the winter is. And you won't need as much down south because there's less winter. So horses on a budget is different depending on where you live. I love tribute feed though. I love the tribute feed. I've seen my horses just bloom on it. Romeo's health got so great on tribute that he got out of his run and bred Vanessa. And he was 13 at the time. And he never bred a mare before, but it gave him enough of a health boost that he was out of there. If you can find ways of treating your horse's chronic issues at home, if they have a chronic cough, those type of preventions can help you down the road. You can find natural supplements to help them before it gets to the point where it's so bad that they need veterinary treatment. So basically what I'm saying in this video is prevention. Prevention is key if you want to own horses on a budget. And even then, it's still expensive, but it teaches you discipline. It really does. When you have to find money for things you love, it teaches you how to save other places, which actually brings up another thought. We eat 2 meals a day in our family, and I've known people, in order to do what they love to do and meet everybody's needs and feed everybody, they only eat 1 meal, and they're just fine. So if you can eat a little less, so that your horses get more, or your animals get more, your kids get more, whatever, whoever you love gets more, that's one way to own horses on a budget. The other thing I have to do in order to have horses on a budget is a lot of pasture. We have 4 pastures and 1 dry lot, and this on a small acreage, mind you, but this actually helps me a lot to save money, because, and will help you as well, for them to have grass turnouts, because they don't need to eat hay all summer long, except for when we leave the home. So this is a budget necessity. Jesus loves you.